Well, where do I start with this weekend? So many things to say, so many things that have already been said elsewhere, and I'm just uploading this as the interview is going on with Lewis Hamilton winning his 100th F1 race. I think it's probably best to start off with that, isn't it? Didn't necessarily look the case after qualifying, where he made two very rare for him, but seemingly more common this season, mistakes. Hitting the pit wall and then spinning on his sole flying lap, putting him in a fourth place start, and then getting passed by the likes of Alonso, Ricciardo, and Stroll, who made a fantastic start in the opening laps of this Grand Prix. But then it was very textbook Hamilton, quietly clawing back, getting the undercut to work, like Mercedes are known to do. And when it got to wet conditions, he was able to manage the slicks in the wet for as long as he had to, and then listen to the team when they said, "You have to box now." Then he pitted, and here we have it. First driver in history to take 100 F1 wins. We've been waiting since Silverstone for that. And whilst Sochi as a track and Russia as a country isn't the most ideal one to have in terms of the backdrop of socio-political beliefs, he took his 7th world title in Hungary. Not Hungary, sorry. He took his 7th world title in Turkey last season. So, yeah, I mean, 100 wins, and he's done it in a very Hamilton-esque way. Gotta feel sorry for Lando. First pole, 102nd different pole sitter in F1 history, and he could full well have won that race. Should McLaren have been more forceful telling him to pit? You could argue that, but then I think this is a learning experience for Lando. Because at the end of the day, I have a feeling that if he had have pitted and Lewis had have passed him, he would have said to the team, "Look, I could have held on." I think it's important for him to have made that mistake, and hopefully that makes him a better driver. Because that's the thing at the end of the day with F1, you want to see people doing the best that they can. And speaking of, Max Verstappen, 2nd place, from last on the grid. Fresh engine, they may be behind Lewis and even further behind Mercedes now in the classification, what with Bottas managing to finish 5th while Checo's in 9th. But there is still some solace they could take from this, you know? They could take solace in the fact that they now have a power unit advantage over Lewis. And Lewis is... Well, Mercedes can still go to the end of the season without taking any penalties, but why would they? Because at the end of the day, they don't want to risk it. They don't want to risk having Lewis have a power unit failure, especially when the title lead is only a handful of points. If that's, like, what, 2 points now? But, yeah, they've extended their advantage over Red Bull. And I think that's what Mercedes is going to take as solace. They're going to take several things as solace, even if it means that Lewis doesn't take the championship. Which is, they're probably going to take the manufacturer's title. I reckon we're going to, if Lewis doesn't win the title, Mercedes will win the manufacturer's at least. But at the same time, I reckon that, I honestly think that they'll take solace in the fact that they've managed to set more records this season. The first driver to reach 100 in poles and wins. It's brilliant. It's a great time to be an F1 fan with stuff like this happening. And there are so many other stories we could talk about in this race. Fernando holding up Max in the middle part of it. Sainz getting P3. Ricciardo getting P4. Bottas from right towards the back of the grid, coming back through in 5th. A poor start, but he managed to get a good recovery drive, and they said top 5. I think they were being a bit optimistic at some points, but top 5 in the end. George Russell finishing 10th. I hope Lando doesn't get a hefty penalty for crossing the pit exit line. Could be 5 seconds, could be 10 seconds. Either way, both of them would still secure him 9th. Just behind Perez, and then George would be able to hold on to 10th. There are so many other points, and I'm going to probably be talking about it on and off for the next while. But in particular, well done to Lewis, 100 wins. Well done to Max for 2nd, especially with that recovery drive. When it came to Monza, it was brilliant because we came out of it with like next to no championship implications, apart from, well, this should have been a Lewis gaining on Max, and then neither of them finished. But with this one, it does have some championship implications, and it would have been awesome to see Lando win, but he's got many more ahead of him. And, yeah, hopefully he learns from this one, like Lewis in China in 2007. Thank you all so much for watching. I hope to see you around. Bye for now.